I think I just got scammed. Welcome back to the series. This is Flipping PCs for Profit. As you guys know, we buy used parts off of eBay, Facebook Marketplace. We're starting to buy some stuff off of Java and even AliExpress. Here's the bill for today's video, and I will say I had a ton of fun putting this thing together. As you can see, it is clearly and by far the most aesthetically pleasing build I personally ever built. Stay tuned to the end to see how much I actually spent on this build and to see the GPU I use. And give your boy a like and subscribe. It lets YouTube know that you are interested in this content. So the previous episode in this series, we did buy a PC for $70, and then we ended up burning out the LED lights with an adapter, so we had to buy new fans, which cost us more money. And we ended up selling that PC for a total of $650, which gave us a profit of $293.26. And I sold it on the Facebook Marketplace, so I didn't have to pay any shipping or anything like that. So that was great. So now on the story on how your boy got scammed. Not once, but twice. Kinda. So I'm looking on my local Facebook Marketplace, and I see this amazing deal for an i9-10900KF. With 16 gigabytes of RAM for a total of $150, and I was actually able to talk the seller down to 60, and this is how it went. So I'm on my way to this guy's house. I found a Facebook Marketplace deal, and this guy had an i9-10900K and 2 sticks of RAM for a total of $150, but I talked him down to $60, so it's a great deal. And the reason why he accepted that is because he said his PC burnt out one day, and he didn't really know what was wrong with it. So he had other people bought all the other parts. All he had left was the processor and the 2 RAM sticks. So, and the processor just so happened to be an i9-10900KF. And lo and behold, the CPU does not work. The only thing that does work is the RAM, and the fan just spins on the CPU fan once, and then it just shuts off and doesn't do anything after that. Tried switching out the RAM, and I switched out the motherboard, and switched out the power supply just to try to get that CPU to work, and it just doesn't. Good news is the RAM does work, but unfortunately I essentially paid $60 for RAM and DDR4 RAM at that, and that's just severely overpriced. Normally DDR4 RAM for 16 gigs is around 20 to 30 bucks. You can probably find on Facebook Marketplace, but you win some, you lose some. In when it comes to Facebook Marketplace. Oh, y'all thought I was done? Nah, I got one more story. And I went back on my Facebook Marketplace, and I saw a seller selling a box of electronics, that keyboard, mouses, like old monitors. But on the main screen, you can see a 650 watt power supply box. So in my mind, I'm thinking this is a 650 watt power supply. And if you guys buy something on Facebook Marketplace, you definitely should ask. And when you meet up with them, definitely look at the product before you just give them the money. That's where I failed. I made an amateur mistake. It happens. I was rushing. So basically when I met up with the seller, they gave me the 650 watt power supply, and then I gave them the 20 bucks they asked for to buy the power supply. And when I opened up the power supply box, this is what I saw. Turns out it was a 550 watt, some generic LSP power supply that I've never heard of. I'm not even sure if it works at all. I haven't tested it yet. But paid $20, thought I was getting a 650 watt. Turns out I'm getting a 550 watt generic brand power supply that I've never heard of. So, yeah, that one kind of sucked. All right, so it is 10:22 p.m. and I'm working on this build. I just got everything connected. Now I have to see if I can actually get a pulse on this thing. This is the first time we see if it turned on. Hopefully it works first try. Let's get this thing plugged in. Now, as I was putting this build together, I was scared. I wasn't scared. I was a little skeptical on how it was actually going to turn out. Haven't used the AIO in a while. This GPU is kind of bulky. It wasn't the RAM I wanted to use, but this came out amazing. Still got to do the cable management, but this looks amazing. And now it's time for the benchmarks. In the first game, we had to go with the good old reliable Fortnite. Now in Fortnite, it did give us 1440p in high settings, which gave us 155 frames per second. Next game we decided to test was Fragpunk. It's a new game I've been seeing everyone playing, so I wanted to give it a shot, see what it could do on this PC. And it's giving me Valorant vibes, and I actually kind of had fun with it. I didn't know what I was doing at first, but I played in 1440p, and it gave me 160 frames per second on high settings. Next is a AAA title game called GTA 5. We probably all heard of it. All waiting for GTA 6 as well. But this was in 1440p with high settings. VSync is off at 115 frames per second. And the last game I decided to test was the good old Cyberpunk 2077. Ran the benchmark test. It was in 1440p, high texture quality. Ray tracing was enabled, and it gave me 65 frames per second. And this GPU surprised me. Like, it really surprised me with the age. I thought it was going to show its age, but this thing's performing amazingly. Now it's finally time to come to the cost of the build. How much did I pay for this build? And if you guys stayed this long, one, I appreciate every single one of you. Two, comment W in the comment section for me. But let's start off with the parts list. The motherboard and CPU. This is a Z4 90 Elite motherboard. It came with the CPU as a bundle, and that cost me $40. Next was the RAM I used, which was the HyperX DDR4 RAM that I spent $60 on that scam. Really wasn't a scam, but you know what I mean. $60 for 16 gigabytes of RAM. I did use a terabyte M.2 storage from Silicon Power. That cost me $58.31. I also had to buy a Windows key, which cost me $26.36 as well. Next I used was the case from Sawa from Newegg. It cost me $80.99. It is the model is the SV01, and it's the first time I've ever used this model. And obviously I had to use my patented white PSU cables just to give it the look, and that cost $18.35. Next I used the AIO is the Thermalright Aqua Elite 360 White V3, and that came from Amazon. It cost me $55.29. And lastly, the GPU and the power supply came as a bundle. They both cost me a total of $130. Now the power supply does have cosmetic damage on it, but it's not faulty. It's been tested. I've tested it multiple times. It comes back clean. It's never given me any issues, and the seller said it's never given him any issues. It just had a cosmetic damage on it, and I made sure before I put it in this build. Now, for the GPU, is a 2080 Super. I believe I got a massive deal with that 130, and it came with a power supply. The 2080 Super performed out of its mind for me, and 1440p for a 2080 Super, and it's performing like that is amazing. Now that I told you the entire part list, the grand total is $469.30, and it's a little bit higher than what I pay for most things, but I do believe it is worth it. My goal is to make $200 to $300 profit off each build, which I've been doing pretty consistently throughout this entire series, which that will make the cost of selling it around $750, $800-ish, if I can get around there. Let me know down in the comment section what price tag I should put on this, and is it possible to me get around $300 in profit on this?